To make that decision to receive help is not a sign of weakness. In today's world, more than ever, it is a sign of strength.
This is a very special edition of Extra Extra. I'm Jane Stevenson for Sun Media, and we have a very special guest today, our royal expert, Christina Blizzard, to fill us in on all things Prince Harry, because man, has he been making a lot of news lately. First and foremost, Christina, just wondering if the royal Harry should be quiet for a moment. He's been doing lots of interviews, been speaking out a lot in the media, issuing statements, doing podcasts. Apparently, he's another interview coming up with Oprah. What do you think at this point? Should Harry maybe take a step back from the media spotlight?
Well, Jane, I think that he's probably a little overexposed at this point. I mean, there's really only so much the public wants to know about this, and it's getting almost uncomfortable for us to watch him pour his heart out, and he's starting to contradict himself. I mean, Meghan said in the original Oprah interview that she couldn't get any help with her mental health issues, and now we find out that Harry had actually been in therapy for 4 years. Well, couldn't he have connected her with the person he was talking to? But it's the more he talks, the more difficult it becomes for the royal family to deal with this. He wants reconciliation, he says, with the family. Well, how can they reconcile when everything they say is then going to be fodder for Oprah? And frankly, I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable with Oprah monetizing his mental health issues. It's very uncomfortable to watch.
There's even a UK doctor overseas quoted as saying Harry is going through too much therapy. Is there such a thing as being too woke right now, do you think?
I think there is. I read that report from the UK doctor, and it made so much sense. And I think that as we might see some other mental health professionals dissecting what he's saying, his latest bombshells are just, absolutely shocking. And they're really not, I'm not really sure they're the kind of things you air on Apple TV. It's something that you deal with as a family. And the Queen, Her Majesty herself, has said that she would like to deal with this as a family. And I think that that's fair enough. You'll note that she has, there are reports that she's going to Balmoral earlier than she usually does. And I suspect she's just had such a terrible year. She, her husband dies, dog, the Dorky that Prince Andrew gave her to help her through these difficulties, died. And now she's had this endless stream of all this diatribe from Prince Harry. I mean, frankly, I think the British public at this time have more sympathy for the Dorky than they do for Prince Harry.
Well, there's even suggestion in the US, his new home, his adopted home, that there's a petition going around to get him to go back to the UK because something he said on Dax Shepard's podcast about the First Amendment. That's never going to happen, though, right? That they'll kick him out of the US?
Well, up until now, I think the US has been on Team Sussex, where the UK has been on Team Royal. But I think that his attack on the First Amendment, which was puzzling because it was the First Amendment that allowed him to go on Oprah and do what he did. But I don't think there's any chance that they will be forced to leave, certainly not. But Harry is just starting to annoy everyone, I think, at this point. Now he's saying he's triggered about going to London. So I think that some of the British people are going to be extremely upset about him saying that his homeland now is anathema to him.
And also, the idea that nobody said happy third anniversary, Harry and Meghan, officially. We don't know if there were phone calls and otherwise, but what do you make of what the royal as a family, and you mentioned the Queen going to Balmoral early, are making of what's going on right now in the press?
Well, I think that I think that they did. I think the royals actually wished Archie a happy birthday, but I thought it was very interesting that there was no comment on the third anniversary. I mean, everything they say now, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. I think the royal family has just decided to, just to let it go, let Harry, come out with whatever he will, perhaps get it out of his system if he ever will. But he's making it almost impossible for any kind of reconciliation with his family.
What do you think? There's a huge moment in their lives coming up with this unveiling of the Princess Diana statue in July. Do you think Harry, Meghan, Archie, and perhaps a new baby on the way will make their way across the pond and be at that very important event? I think the whole world will be watching that.
Well, absolutely, and there's been a battle apparently because both of both of Diana's sons, both William and Harry, want to make speeches. So we're pretty sure that William is going to do a fairly non-controversial speech, although I'm sure he'll hit some of the some of the hot spots. But what will Harry say? And it seems to me, if he's just said that that London is a trigger, can he then make it over there safely? Maybe he's setting out a path whereby he doesn't go over for the unveiling of the statue. But frankly, I think when the moment comes, I think he will be there. I think how he behaves, I mean, he's been so unpredictable, so erratic that it's anyone's guess.
Well, we'll all be watching together that day, and let us know what you think of everything that's been going on with Prince Harry on Facebook and Twitter. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel.